What's up, guys? Dazanar here. Currently in this wonderful little cypress forest that I have near where I live. Just kind of relaxing, and happen to be snap dab in the middle of a whole bunch of poison ivy after I set up the camera and realized this. But whatever, I'm just not gonna move. How about that? Today I was really interested in talking more about I guess a simulation, but specifically existing within multiple realities, and how you can kind of conceptualize that, maybe, or how I do, and coming to terms with it and embracing it, that kind of thing. So I don't know how it is for other people when they kind of come to the realization that they might be in a simulation, or how far down that rabbit hole their brain lets them go. But mine let me go really, really, really far. I really like to do thought puzzles and projections and whatnot, and just yeah, that can kind of take my brain to some pretty interesting places. And so I've really given a thought to what the simulation would be for me and what that would mean. And I've had multiple experiences on like psychedelics, or just doing like thought games, and thinking of, just kind of the stuff that philosophers used to do, to think of what an atom could be, kind of what I do to think up what a simulation could be, and many other people. Did I mention there's like mosquitoes everywhere because I'm in a cypress dome? But yeah, I put some spray up. Anyways, the first kind of little bit I want to talk about was how much of a shock it was, just like coming to that realization. And because at first, me personally, I couldn't really see people for any sort of value. It was just really hard to see people as actually being other beings, like other people that I interact with. I started to fall into the line of the philosophical thought that, like, I can only prove that I myself exist, no one else exists, this could all be a construct of the mind. And in a way, I still kind of do believe that, but like, I also pay now, in my, as I've grown older and a little bit wiser, I've grown to respect my surroundings, whatever they could be. Whether it's a person or it's a AI algorithm, like, I tend to respect it. I'm not the type of person to go and troll an AI algorithm into being a suicidal Nazi maniac kind of thing. That's not me. But it took me a while to get there. And I was just, caught in this, like, well, if this is a simulation, what really matters? What can you get away with? What, how depressed do you really have to be on it? I was really just seeing it from a very depressing perspective, you could say, an isolating perspective, and it's just not healthy. It wasn't healthy. I was very depressed and just like looking around for a whole bunch of different things. I was drowning. I tried reading different religious books and getting involved with church, and I'm still drowning. And it's not like a savior was coming to save me. Like, maybe at death, I don't freaking know. Maybe, in 100 years, the simulation comes and swoops people out. I don't freaking know. But like, I know in the current moment when you're drowning, the best thing you can do is try for yourself to figure out the situation. So that's what I was doing. That's what I do to this day. I don't try and sit around screaming for help. I try and understand what I can do with the situation and actively amend it if possible. So eventually, I came to this understanding, kinda with more like psychedelic use, but not like rampant use. Like, I didn't, use a whole bunch of psychedelics all the time, every weekend kind of thing. It's just, I would have an experience, I would interpret that experience, and that interpretation would take months. Like, I still don't trip very often. I really, really dislike it because it's so freaking insane. Like, and what I have to take in and download from literally the universe around me, it's literally like a huge mental download and understanding of things that seems temporary, but like, I don't know, the more you get a grasp of it, the more you can like cling on to those ideas and understand how they build a bigger universe around you, or a multiverse around you, that like this base level isn't like all that there is. Like, that's what humans generally think, that this is reality, and some humans think there's a god over top of them. And what I came to learn is that, like, I mean, yeah, this is your reality, this is our reality, but like there's a whole bunch of fucking complicated shit all around us, people that we don't even understand. And if you want just simple proof of that, you just look up to the fucking stars and you're like, oh, there's like, we got matter, and then we got dark matter, and then you got dark energy, and it's like they each equate like different like energy and mass proportions in the universe, and these complicated like physics things that like I'm not gonna be able to communicate to you, but like we already understand that there are hidden forces in our universe that really kind of hold it together, and at the same time kind of tear it apart, and like we can't even see it, right? And most people don't even like think about that on the daily, right? So just kind of assuming that things are way more complicated than people can possibly understand doesn't seem that far-fetched, and never seemed that far-fetched to me. And the more I paid attention to the experiences I had instead of trying to distract myself, the more I became in tune to like this more complicated multiverse, and to be able to appreciate my small little role in that multiverse, that little role that was like kind of possibly, from my point of view, like frantically given out to humans in a last-ditch effort to save them from like ultimate self-destruction, which is kind of the road we're leading to right now. If you guys are too distracted to see, you know, maybe you're like smoking mad hopium thinking this Paris Climate Accord, and we're gonna turn it around, and we're gonna global warming, we're gonna put a stop to it, and we're gonna go full blue, or we're gonna go full red here in America, and it's gonna make things change. Bros, that's not happening. Like, there's so much greed out there, that shit's not happening. So when I calculate that into my thought games process, it got me to this point where it's like, oh no, this is definitely a simulation. And then when I added in the experiences I had that were just undeniable on psychedelics, I can't explain it to you guys what I see. Like, I will try to explain it in the future, but like, for me, it's like undeniable. That's if like a super entity, fifth dimensional being came to you and wanted to prove itself without a doubt to you, like it would be able to undeniably. You would be like, the fifth dimension's like around you. It's like bigger than you. It's like has more knowledge, infinitely more. So like when confronted with that, like me personally, I just acknowledge and respect the I don't know, wisdom, the level of whatever the fuck that is. But it also respects the shit out of me, you know, like, you know, it wants to respect the shit out of people. We suck, right? But like, it's a benevolent kind of force in my perspective that I'm connecting to, and it's given me that kind of benevolent outlook on life in general. And if this is a simulation for me, and I really do think it is, at first I thought it was, well, we toasted the planet and now we're here and we're stuck and this is lame and I want the real thing. And that was a fallacy of depression. And now I'm like, well, this feels real, but like I also, in my heart of hearts and mind, like I know, to me personally, that this is not real, but that it feels real, I can still connect to it. And what we are losing, I can connect to what we have in the past. I can connect to what lies ahead in the future. I can still connect to that, and that's very precious to me. But what I've also gained is the ability to connect to other multiverses that I have somewhat larger understandings of that are also connected to this world around us. And I could get into those examples more in the future too, because I think that's just a little bit more complicated than what I wanted to talk about in this video, which is not what I think other multiverses may be, but that like when you get a bigger respect for how the possibility of how complicated the universe might actually be around you, or multiple universes might actually be around you. Once you can understand and respect that, you also have a bigger respect for your personal, like, you know, little slice of that thing. So it took me like 7-10 years to come to that, and to come to that kind of like peaceful, enlightened kind of groove that you can kind of get into and remember to be mindful of. Because a lot of, I guess, people that have touched on enlightenment and really understand it know that you're never really truly fully enlightened unless you can completely detach yourself from everything. And so few people do that, and I don't recommend you do that, because I personally think it's more about connecting with the people around you instead of disconnecting, that you really tap into the true meaning of things. But to find that true meaning, like, some people have to disconnect from everything, and that's why yogis came about in the first place. And anyways, going off on a tangent there, huh? Mosquitoes and poison ivy, guys. Mosquitoes and poison ivy. You want to see? There's the poison ivy. There's some more. Got some bigger ones up there. So, I mean, that's the basics of kind of being used to the idea of a multiverse, which is like, you gotta humble yourself, because you're just fucking human. Like, we think we know what this is all doing, what it's all about, and we've made religions based off of it, we have science based off of it, but more fundamentally altering, we have like societies based off of it, and like societal pressure, and that's completely transforming everything in very negative ways. And it's based on this non-humble idea that we got this, we understand all of this, we are humans, we're so oppressed, we know what we're going to be doing next. Like, kind of the same attitude I have about predicting the future, but without any hint of humbleness. Like, you know, I for me personally think this about like the universe, and I'm not trying to say that everyone should, this is definitely my perspective of it, and I thought some people might find it interesting, and maybe some other people might also share that perspective, so I share it too. So yeah, humbling yourself to the idea that there might be other universes out there, other dimensions out there, even surrounding our own, that are interconnected with our own, and maybe have effects on our own, or we might have effects on theirs, and that things are just way more connected than people could possibly imagine. You know, we're finding that out about the planet. You know, it's, oh, there's a worldwide wood web kind of shit, and there's a fungal web, and like all the ecosystems are tied to each other. I could go into all this triangle ecology cycling bullshit, but you already know we're all connected. It's all connected. Like, you just got to stop like putting limits on it. Like, this is so connected. Like, you are so quantumly entangled to this bullshit, and you don't even understand. I don't even understand that, no, but I know that I am, and that is super empowering, because most people don't. You know, most people miss that little slice because they're so distracted, right? And we have a big slice. We have a big slice to enjoy here, and can't forget that. You also have to protect it, you know? So, and that's kind of what we're flopping at, you know? Some people really understand that what we have is precious, but truly absolving ourselves from the real grind of society is just, how do we pull away from this greed, you know, successfully? I don't know how, guys. I don't know how. That's a different subject, right? Anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the perspective. I have many more ideas about multiverse and simulation theory. Oh, punch my throat. I think next video we're gonna take a little break from it and try something else. No? Oh, my bones. This pretty little cypress dome. So they had to leave these when they were constructing because, like, Florida in the 80s put an environmental law that said, all right, you have to leave in the wetlands or you have to pay a huge fee. And all developers are like, fuck that, we're not paying a fee. And so you have a bunch of these left. I'm gonna get out of here before I touch some poison ivy. Later, guys.